Mm. Hey, hey, hey. What is going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 2 of the Certified Ball Knowers podcast. I am 7, joined with my partner in crime, 9, for the third week in a row. We're here to talk ball, baby, as Certified Ball Knowers. Niner, how we doing?
We're doing good, man. We got one of my favorite jackets on right now, a Target special that is just as comfortable as can be. I was getting ahead of it before you made fun of me, just how comfortable and swaggy I look right now.
Yeah, it looks like if Oregon used the Tennessee in zone. Like,
I wouldn't put it past Oregon. They're running out of design options. They'll probably just start copying other schools.
Yeah, they're like you in college. They'll try anything once, right? So that's very much,
a wise man told me try everything at least once.
Yeah.
He used to be my pastor, but
Dad said the same thing to me too. So shout out 2-1. Yeah. How's the week started? I mean, we're Wednesday. We're recording a little late. Your boy had a little bit of a work shindig, as the kids like to call it. So we're just getting after it here at almost 11 o'clock Colorado time. So you doing good? I just want to check in. How the vibe?
We're good. We actually just had a cup of Joe. We're feeling refreshed, energized, excited to talk ball. Yeah, we had to have some caffeine. I mean, you were giving me a lot of heat though the last couple of weeks about how tired I was during our recordings. A big problem is we never start on time because you have to put your makeup on. You don't know how a microphone works. So there's a lot that's dependent on you, Jason.
It probably has more so to do with me just having like a little bit more robust of a career and job, really. So that requires me to kind of do more. I have 2 kids. Robust. You have 1 who can't even like walk, which is kind of lazy, honestly. If we want to break that down.
What do you mean by robust? Can you define that in that sentence for me?
There's just a lot of different things going on. There's just like a lot of different avenues that we're venturing down in the career path that we're currently on. And, outfits like this don't just, you can't just
remind me what your schedule is tomorrow for work. I can't remember.
So I have 3 Zoom meetings tomorrow, and then I go into a nice little round of golf with some of my best clients here in the Phoenix area.
Super robust. Yeah.
Different avenues. I'm going Zoom to the golf course. I mean, spot the lie, bro. What do you mean?
Will you be on Zoom at the golf course? Is that how dedicated you are to corporate America?
Yeah. Okay. I'm working at all times. Working at all times. Sure. What are you doing tomorrow? What's your schedule look like?
Meetings all day to talk about future meetings that we'll need about the meeting that we just had. So really, really excited about that.
Can we trade? That sounds like my ideal gig.
We could trade. Probably you'll need to grow your hair out or I'll have to cut my hair, but we could get away with it. We definitely could. Yeah. That's the perk of being an identical twin. Like when we were in high school and we switched class that one time.
Yep, that one time. Poor student teacher. She stood
Shout
no
out Miss
chance.
Peterson. Shout out Miss Peterson. She caught you so quick.
The goat. Yeah. I mean, I was hiding in the hallway, like right outside the door. I wasn't, my brightest move. And as most people that know me that are listening and folks that don't know, like, I'm not full of bright moves. They're usually entertaining in some regard, but they're not always like,
Well, the best part about this story is we're identical twins. So it's like, oh, yeah, you should switch classes.
At the time, never did it our whole life. We were 17. We finally decided to do it.
So we're like, hey, let's do it. There's 2 key elements of the story that are the student teacher was the class that I switched into. It was your teacher. I switched into that class.
Yeah.
Not only did I have hair down to my shoulder and you had a buzz cut.
Yeah.
It was also a game day, if you remember. We were wearing our jerseys for this Friday.
Obviously. 9.
I had T. Snyder on the back, 9, of course. You had J. Snyder on the back, 7.
Yeah.
And she had no idea. This poor woman.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that's where, like, I just commented on maybe me not being the smartest or doing always the smartest things. Maybe we can blame, really who the folks that were responsible for that growth and really the most impactful parts of our life. And that is a great example. And you convinced her that it was a wig for about 15 minutes until said Miss Peterson caught me in the hallway watching through the window and laughing my ass off. Good times. We only did
Great
it once.
Good memory.
Yeah.
Good memory.
Yeah.
Well, we
That's
continue
maybe a
to do
good
it with our
segment later,
kids
though.
now,
Is
though.
like, what's up?
We do it with our kids now, though. It took your oldest 4 years to even figure out who I was. So we're still doing it.
Yeah. I mean, he sees you twice a year, bro. So, I mean, I don't know. He kind of forgets who you are,
Nice shot. I like that.
You liked it?
Yeah.
I don't feel like prepared for it. Yeah. Yeah, no, that was a below the belt. And I think that speaking of below the belt, like maybe a future segment, Cole put this down on maybe the tickler file. Most commonly asked questions we get as identical twins.
Ooh. Yep. It's a long list. Some dumb ones too.
No, we have never measured who has the bigger, you know what? Like that has never happened. That's probably number one or number two of the most received
from the
questions.
guys for sure.
Wild though. Wild.
Yeah. My personal favorite is when people ask if we share the same birthday. I understand that there's an extreme use case where you don't share the same birthday.
Yeah.
But what a wild assumption. So not to give too much away, but just
when people see identical twins, they freeze. They like don't know what to do. They go back to like 3-year-old version of themselves. Caveman.
Yeah.
Just be like, who has the bigger dick? And he's like, oh, good question. Like the amount of times I've been asked that question, like, is wild. And it is me, obviously, but like we don't address it. It's more of like, on a YouTube video.
Well, I'm compensating. That's why I'm wearing this jacket.
Yeah,
you have to.
Yeah. You got to do it. You got to do whatever, you're blessed with. Right. So, but no, I'm glad you've had a good week, man. You look horrendous.
Thank you.
Yep. And so I came, like I said, from a dinner. I got to sit next to a gal who's a diehard School Up North fan and just talk shit to her about the School Up North for about 2 hours. It was, we bonded, actually, I would say.
Let me guess. You pulled out 2 lines. One from 2-1, our pops. You said, did they teach you how to read? Did you say that line?
Yeah, in so many words, for sure.
Yeah. And then did you ask her to bring you ranch dressing with the fries? Because she was obviously your waitress.
No, I did remind her, though, the all-time records in all three, football, basketball, baseball, who has the all-time winning record, and it is the University of Arizona Wildcats across the 3 major sports. And that's always fun to say, especially living here in Phoenix, coming across.
It's a good reminder.
Yeah.
You got to have those stats in the back pocket at any time.
Yeah. My favorite one too is when people tell me, especially in kind of the world I live in, where, a lot of the folks that I meet have kids, right? And they're in like, whether they're in preschool, elementary school. She has kids that go to a private Christian school. And then she's telling me, go Devils. I don't know about you, and you read the book, that the oldest book, like, I don't think saying go Devils really aligns with a Christian private school
moral
philosophy.
value.
Yeah.
That's
so
right.
and the amount of folks that go there that consider themselves, faith-based,
morally righteous.
Yeah. They often say go Devils. So it just contradicts. Like, I've never understood that. And they're going to have to answer that for that one day.
There's some repentance that needs to be had, I think, is what you're getting at. So
absolutely.
I agree. Yeah. Well, nice. I'm glad you've had a good week as well. And how about that weekend slate though? You want to jump in?
Yeah, I mean, we got to start with the our beloved Arizona Wildcats while we're just talking about it. I mean, 22-10 at home against FCS opponent NAU. One thing I want to note right off the bat, maybe we should have our stats guy Cole go back and rewatch the game on the live broadcast and see how many times the ESPN broadcasters mentioned that NAU is an FCS school, like we had forgotten 2 seconds earlier. Yeah, it was only the best at ESPN, as we all know. Nothing but detailed research. They did nothing on the pronunciation and research front for a lot of the guys on the Wildcats, but it wasn't good. I don't feel great about it. In fact, I feel pretty horrible about it. I have a lot of thoughts. I have 2.5 pages worth of notes that I've rambled over the last 4 days, just randomly.
Is that another avenue in your robust business ventures? Is just taking time to take notes?
Definitely,
no, it's the important things to do.
Yeah. I wouldn't even call it an avenue. It's more of like a dirt road because it can get bumpy at times. But
Sure.
I won't read all 14 bullet points, but it's a pretty robust lineup of thoughts. I just I don't know how any Arizona Wildcat football fan can walk away from that game and think that we have any sort of a chance against Kansas State. And that's where I'm at.
Agreed. I'm with you. I'm very worried about this weekend's game. We'll get into that a little bit. But, I mean, if you just look at the NAU game, you nailed it, right? 22-10. We were down by 4 at halftime against NAU. I have read the Twitter files. I've seen everything from all of our fans, and I agree with you. There are way too many fans that were kind of like, we had those 9 or 10 starters out. They're holding back the playbook, just giving us all types of excuses. And I'm pretty over that because I think what we saw on Saturday was a defense who got coached up the week before, and they showed improvement. I know the first week was New Mexico, and then it was NAU, so still not the most worthy opponent, but at least the defense showed some signs of life. And our offense took that week to not practice, to drastically scale back the playbook, forget that they have the best offensive player in the country on their team, and forget how to block. And I don't care if you're playing with second stringers, you beat an FCS team by 40 and you move on. Like, I don't care if we have second stringers. If our second stringers can't beat NAU by 40, then we got a big problem. And I think we have a big problem on our hands, Jason. I think we really do.
Yeah, I mean, like, we've addressed this, but, like, we get coined as being negative fans. And, like,
of course,
that's fine. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Like, I think it's just real. And as certified ball knowers, I think that, I don't need a full season to watch to let me know that this ain't it. We've played fucking New Mexico and NAU, and we've looked like absolute dog shit. And not only dog shit, but like energy levels where, to me, it comes across like a lot of the returning guys that were on last year's team are playing with a little bit less of an edge. And I'm jumping to a wild conclusion here, but to me, I think that they know from a coaching staff perspective where they're at this year versus last year is JV versus high-level Division I, and JV being this coaching staff right now.
Yeah.
A couple things to point out. Like, people on Twitter, whatever, were saying, we need more time. No, you don't. That's what we said for Sean Miller for 5 years. It's the same conversation. It's the same fans saying, give Sean Miller a chance. How many more times do you have to watch Sean run the same play to open every game and then the same set plays every single game? If you want to coach kids like 3 stars, don't recruit 5 stars. And Brent Brennan has the best roster he will ever have in his career. I know he's a young coach, but this opportunity right now, he will never have again to make a college football playoff because this roster is the most talented he will ever have. Not only from, okay, you could strike gold with a super experienced senior heavy team. Like that's
TCU.
TCU, right? Or NIU against Notre Dame. We'll talk about that later, but like experience, culture, that matters. And he did that at San Jose. Mm-hmm. Winning at San Jose is a miracle, right? But he doesn't seem like he fully is wrapping his head around like this opportunity, because if he capitalizes, we don't even have to make the playoffs. But if we win 8-9 wins, the recruiting class will continue. We're not going to get a T-Mac. T-Mac's a unicorn. But like, kids are going to go see, and they're looking at this roster saying, how does Brent Brennan and this staff coach up elite talent? I consider myself elite as XYZ recruit. Can they coach me and get me to the next level? No is the answer. Like, unless there's some drastic changes, like that offense is about as boring and stale as you could imagine. Not to mention the fact from just how dumb it is that we put Cunningham or no, not Cunningham, Patterson back there to return punts, and we put the triple XL jersey on him because Traden Stoops was wearing number 2. That's JV JUCO, bro. Yeah. Dude, it
was terrible.
Go ahead.
Yeah, a lot to unpack with what you said, and I agree with a lot of it. I disagree with, if you're alluding to a Brent Brennan take, I don't have an opinion on Brent Brennan yet. I think I want to give Brent Brennan time.
Why?
I do not. Well, I'll tell you why. Brent Brennan is not a offensive player or a offensive play caller or a defensive play caller. He is a CEO type. Can he make the tough decisions needed mid-season at this point? If Dino Babers goes out and does what he did again, what the coaching he portrayed in week 2 against NAU, if he has the same experience against Kansas State, he's got to make a coaching change at who is calling the plays. My entire focus on this team right now is Dino Babers. Dino Babers does not know what he is doing. Clearly. I know I defended him, I think, in past podcasts, and I've seen a lot of people defend him prior to the season. There's no more time left to defend. He's got one shot, in my opinion, this Friday night to prove that he actually knows what he's doing. Was he holding back the playbook? Maybe. Maybe he's going to open it up. I just don't believe that. I don't like that strategy. And I really think that Matt Atkins, our tight end coach, who's a young guy, an up-and-comer, should be calling our plays. Or Bobby Wade. But I don't think it's Bobby Wade. I think it's a Matt Atkins call. Dino Babers is boring. He's repetitive. And I don't care if he was trying to hide things, hide plays. I don't care if he was really limited with the offensive line that was really banged up. I think we started 2 starters, right? So I don't care. I am tired of excuses. It's the same thing as Sean Miller that you mentioned. We always had an excuse for Sean. It was always he's going to get there. It was always blah, blah, blah. You can see it early. Our offense has no idea what it's doing. So Brent Brennan, we got to give him some time, but I won't give Dino Babers another week after this. I think he's got to be removed of offensive play calling duties if he shows up again this Friday like he did last week.
Yeah, I mean, the argument people are making is saying, oh, well, we scored 61 against New Mexico. That was not because we had an epic game plan. That was because New Mexico's defensive staff was full-blown incompetent with playing one-on-one coverage for a majority of the game against the best wide receiver in the country. And NAU comes out and they bracket coverage, double coverage, the best wide receiver in the country. And Dino Babers clearly did not spend 1 second this offseason asking himself, how are we going to respond if they double team T-Mac? How is that not a day one conversation or thought process?
How is it not an everyday conversation?
Yeah.
These guys are in the facility 14, 15 hours a day. How are you not spending 3 hours with the offensive staff saying, what is our game plan from a passing game perspective to get the ball in other guys' hands because Tetsuo McMillan is going to be double covered?
Yeah.
It blows my mind. I do not get it. I don't believe in Dino. And if Dino, what I'm saying though, I know you're mad at Brent, and I get it. Me too. But if Dino Babers doesn't show up again against Kansas State, and then we keep Dino as the play caller all year, that's when I'll have doubts against Brennan, because Brennan's the CEO. He's got to make tough decisions. Just like the business world you have to do the same thing. He hired Dino. It looks to be a mistake early on. We'll see over the next couple of weeks. But if he can't make a change, this team is 5-7.
Do you remember what my number one concern was?
It was Dino Babers. Yeah.
Yeah. If you watched one game of Syracuse over the last decade, there was zero creativity. It was QB power, a little bit of maybe inside zone, hitches and goes. We're talking you only win in video games with that playbook when you're playing on rookie mode. You don't win games. And that's why the hiding the playbook is such bullshit. That's not how it works. You don't hide a playbook. You can hide certain plays, but you can't hide creativity. And there is no creativity. I do not understand how this staff, and this is where I'm on Brent. I understand philosophies are different and schemes are different from coaching staff to coaching staff.
Sure.
This is the best opportunity he will ever have where he took over a roster that returned before Polito went out 4 returning offensive lineman starters, the best wide receiver in America, Montana, who also starts at wide receiver, replace the slot, replace the running back with the 2 highest PFF grades coming out of the transfer portal. Good running back room, a Heisman dark horse at quarterback. And you know what he does? He changes the whole offensive run game scheme. Like, why? I don't understand how he can say, like, oh, we're going to teach these guys new tricks. They won 7 games in a row. Like, learn something new. He talked about it before the season that they were going to adopt lingo that was used from the former staff to keep it in line, because he said that the staff, 7 of them on offense, 10 of them, whatever it is a less number for them to learn rather than 50 guys or whatever it is. Yeah. The same thing should be true on the scheme front. Like, I do not understand in hiding the playbook. Like, don't even start with that. Because that won't work. If we try to come out and be creative, we haven't practiced it. Like, whether we're practicing it, we could be practicing in practice, but that's a different ballgame.
It's one thing to hide a triple reverse pass.
For sure.
Of course.
Yeah.
But you can't be hiding your run blocking schemes, your complex, rubs. I mean, there was no crossing routes. There was no quick bubbles everything was long developing. Our offensive line had no idea what it's doing. And again, I know starters were out, but it doesn't matter. It was NAU. I'm tired of the excuses. And I think personally, this is one of the problems with Arizona football and our fan base. For basketball, we have some dumb fans, but the expectations are high. For football, the expectations are low, and people just kind of like, we're a basketball school. It doesn't matter. We have an opportunity here, and we've talked about this. We have an opportunity here to really elevate our status from a football perspective. And if we don't take advantage of this season, we could be back to where we were in the Sumlin era. And that's not good for where the media rights are going with how college football is going to be drastically reduced over the next few years. It's a scary place to be. And I know I mentioned someone, and the last thing I want to say about Dino Babers, because I'm sure I'm going to be top of his hit list here soon if he catches wind of this. But
come at me, Dino. I don't give a fuck.
I don't care either. Dino Babers, watching that offense on Saturday, the scariest part for me was how much it reminded me of Noel Malzone, our offensive coordinator under someone. It was the same vibes. It was the same exact vibes. Boring offense, not using our skill position. If you remember, Khalil Tate never ran the ball under Malzone. It's like with T-Mac, he only gets 2 catches. We're not getting the ball into our tight end's hands nearly enough. It's like there's no creativity, and it scares me to say that game reminded me of a Sumlin era game. That's exactly what it reminded me of. And after what we've experienced the last couple of years, it's really hard for me to go back to that.
Yeah. Just take those long developing, like, outside zone plays that they run. Noah has been coached clearly to adjust his posture when handing the ball off. That is very different than last year. And what I mean by that is that his knees are locked, his arms are completely out, and there is no chance that he's actually keeping the ball. Last year, he kept the ball on a read, maybe 5 times? But those 5 times were 3rd and 4. 4th and 2,
big plays,
3rd and 3.
Yep.
The reason why those worked is for the 150 other plays where it looked like he could possibly keep it. That is not like groundbreaking football talk here. Like that is not certified ball knower, level of knowledge. That is basic, and that's why I'm on Brent. Like, that is vanilla JV bullshit, dude. That is like if I'm playing backer. And
Brent's not blameless. He's not blameless.
If I see the quarterback immediately go like this, there is no other option than to just attack wherever the guards are pulling to. Like in NAU stopped it. I mean, I know we ran pretty well, all things considered, and I like our running back room. That might be one of the positive things, but like we should run for 400 yards against NAU.
Yeah.
And but there's no creativity, no deception, no possibility for anything else but what the play is called. You think about last year, we'd run a bubble, a slant with the option to run with the quarterback.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's football in 2024. Yeah. Like we're running, like, just because you're a Dick Tomey guy, Brent, doesn't mean you can't score points. Like, it doesn't mean that you can't be creative. Just because Dick Tomey won every game 13-9 in the 90s doesn't mean you have to try and do the same. You scored 61 points because of an incompetent defense coordinator. That's not going to happen in the Big 12. Kansas State is going to fucking roll us on Friday if we come out with the same game plan. And everyone's saying, oh, we're going to come out with this new thing. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. You don't just like roll out a new game plan. Like,
no,
you don't. Like, that's not how it works. No. So the reason why you schedule New Mexico and NAU is to practice that shit. Like, it's not to like save it to practice against a 14th ranked team in the country.
I've watched a ton of teams play over the last couple of weeks. One that stands out to me right now is Ole Miss. They've played nobodies. They have beat those nobodies by 50 every time, and they are running the entire playbook. Because you want to know what happens when you show the entire playbook? It's more to prepare for. It's actually harder.
Way harder.
It's actually harder.
Way harder.
And the offense has practiced it, so they know what they're doing on Saturday when they actually have to go execute a play. So it makes absolutely no sense. But you know, with that, I'm tapped out on Arizona ball. I'm depressed. I know we'll get to this weekend in our predictions and stuff, but yeah, not good. Not good in Tucson.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you have eyes, you should be able to realize that we are in a situation where we are going to lose by 3 touchdowns or more on Friday, because we haven't even touched on the defense. The defense played fine. Obviously got coached up. Still some holes. Do you know who? Did you hear what the ESPN? And I checked it before this. Did you know where Justin Flo ranked in total tackles last year for the team?
I don't.
6th. I'd rather watch him go at least knock around some skulls than freaking Brown running around.
Yeah.
Like, he had 11 tackles. Cool. Against NAU. Like, dope. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I had 14 tackles against Del Norte. Like let's.
Sick, dude.
Right.
It's crazy sick. You still remember your high school stats. That's
I just made that up. But it's on YouTube.
Well, and we talked about the depth concerns, right? And like, you had your concerns at the beginning of the year with Dino. I had my depth concerns. I think we saw on Saturday that there is a very real concern at the offensive line position. Baker at center was out, so we had Stovall in there. He looked terrible. The communication was horrible across those guys. Like, again, I do not like the excuse, and I'm not here for the excuse of they're backups. It's like, well, the backups should beat NAU. And then on the defensive line, we're getting more hurt. Kevon Darton didn't play. Bear Alexander is still out for unspecified amount of time. So you have Isaiah Johnson, Chuba Hubbard, who are good players. Don't get me wrong. I think they've actually played pretty well. But who else do we have on the nose tackle spot? And that's where I go back to one of my previous rants. We have a bunch of offensive linemen who are not playing. Shenko, Tylen Gonzalez. Start getting them reps at D-line. They're 6'5", 330. Put them on the defensive line. Tell them to hold their ground. Like, we need some depth, and that's a growing concern, especially with Darton seemingly coming into camp this year from Syracuse without being in great shape. He wasn't super healthy. That's unfortunate. Bear, I think, had a fall camp injury. And then one thing I wanted to rant, I was talking to 2-1 earlier, and I brought this up, and he hadn't thought about it, so I'm interested to hear your thoughts, Seven. The previous coaching staff, who I'll leave unnamed because they're still dead to us.
Yeah.
They knew what they were doing in all avenues, though. As much as hate I have, they knew what they were doing. From an offensive scheme perspective, we saw it. I think that we got spoiled because now the delta between what we had and what we have now is huge. But the thing that I brought up to 2-1 that I'm curious your thoughts are, the amount of injuries that we're having not happening in practice, or not happening in a game, they're happening in practice, didn't happen over the last 3 years. We didn't have 10 guys coming out of camp who were like banged up, blah, blah, blah. That old staff knew how to run a program like a pro team. Pro teams are elite at keeping guys healthy, ready for the regular season. And clearly, again, Brent Brennan does not know what he's doing in all facets of coaching a football program. We shouldn't be having this many injuries coming out of fall camp.
So yes, you're now against Brent.
I've said he's not blameless. I'm not going to blame him for everything I see on the field because Dino is that bad. I want the blame to be on Dino. But from a CEO perspective, he's not blameless, Jay. Like, he is not. The injuries that we have right now, knowing that we do not have a lot of depth, is terrible. And it did not happen in the last couple of years. I don't know if that's a training, like the way they're working out, if they're going too much live in practice or what, but something is clearly different when you look at the amount of injuries we have now versus what we had last year. I mean, we stayed really healthy last year and the year before. Yes, things happen during games, Rhino's injury, whatever. The fact that all these guys, I mean, I heard reports today, Dalton Johnson might not play this week. Rhino is probably not going to play. So we're stuck with Ryan Stewart again at right tackle. Like, all the injuries are a huge problem, but they can be mitigated if you are smart and wise about how you're coaching and practicing your team. And we saw that the last couple of years.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, just to go back on the Arizona front, like, oh, we're a basketball school, we just want to make a bowl game. That's, let's be cute. That was when we had Oregon, Washington, USC, and Utah at the top. The Big 12's open, man. Like, this is what I've been like with the new Big 12 and Texas and Oklahoma not being there. Someone's got to rise to the top. And why not us? This is the perfect roster to catapult the future of Arizona football. And when you think about Tucson, like, that town's ready. That town is ready. We don't have the donors, maybe like other schools, but we have the passion. It's a college town. That's the only thing to do down there. Like, that's what people will do if we're in position. And shout out to Zona Zoo for sticking out the whole game, because quite frankly, they're holding out hope that we're going to be, turn the ship around. And I hope, and I will be the first one to admit, if I'm wrong on any of this stuff, I will be the first one to admit it. In fact, if we make the college football playoff, which that was the goal coming into the year, 12 team. We won 10 games last year, and we have the core of both sides of the ball coming back. Yeah, we lost 3 NFL guys.
Sure.
But we have an NFL right tackle. We have an NFL DB. We have an NFL wide receiver. I think Noah Fafita gets slept on from an NFL potential because of his size, but you can't teach smart and you can't teach hard. Clip that. That was sick. Let's talk about why not us? Like, enough with this, like, let's just be like, what's the point of playing sports? It's to win a championship. And when Brent is out there saying everything's going to be all right, work on that. Oh, I didn't know we had that many penalties. Oh, I didn't know we had that many stuff. Dude, this is fucking war. It's war. It's not actually war. I fully acknowledge that. Shout out the troops. But, like, we have the opportunity to go win games and set ourselves apart going forward in the Big 12 that is not have a powerhouse. Utah is the closest there, and they are one quarterback injury that we saw this weekend away from being irrelevant, because they have everything invested in Cam Rising. That kid might be good. Zach Wilson's brother might be good, but he's 18 years old. He got on campus 6 weeks ago. That kid ain't ready to lead him to a college football playoff.
No.
Kansas, a team that was a dark horse. Kansas lost to Illinois. They're going to lose to UNLV probably this weekend too. That is a team that is not maybe as good in similar boat as us. Colorado. Okay, cool. 2 top 10 picks. Trash.
I mean, they're not good.
Why not us? Why can't we be good at both? Why do we have to have these high expectations for basketball and not have the same for football? We are a college school in Arizona, college town in Arizona that lives and breathes Arizona sports. High expectations mean that you care. Why does it matter that you care? And if you watch the last 2 games saying, oh, it'll get better, no, it won't. There's no way. That was NAU in New Mexico, dude. We're playing K-State on the road, 14th on Friday night. The only game on town on Fox Sports or whatever. Shout out Fox. Are they going to be ready? I hope I'm wrong. I
don't believe it.
Dude, there's no way. There's no way.
Well, I know we're going to get to that game here in a sec. Any other games from this past weekend stand out to you that you want to talk about?
Just shout out NIU just right off the bat. Northern Illinois going into the to South Bend and just taking care of business. That was that trumped anything in my mind. Like Texas gets the hype, and they're the team that everyone's like, oh shit,
but they look legit.
That's the story. I mean,
absolutely,
that's the story. That was special, man. That was awesome. The fact that the coach played at NIU and like he cares so much about that university and
it's cool, man. It was really, really cool. He had a bunch of seniors too. Like I think you mentioned earlier, they're just like an old group, who've stuck together over the years through, I'm sure NIL possibilities or transfer possibilities, but they're like, nah, let's stay here. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. The one that I had a lot of fun watching, I want to shout out, is Oklahoma State. They played maybe a better than we thought Arkansas team at home. Oklahoma State, though, so I bet on Oklahoma State to cover 7.5. They were down 2 tutties early, and I was sweating it out. They had one of the best backdoor covers that I've experienced when I've been in play.
Those are
that's worth mentioning. They were down. They somehow sent it into overtime. And the only way they were going to win by 8, which to cover the spread 7.5, the only way they were going to win by 8 was if they won it in the second overtime by not allowing Arkansas to score, and Oklahoma State had to score the touchdown and get the mandatory 2-point conversion that they had to take. And they hit it. It was electric. My boy Brett was over. We were both on that game, and vibes were super high. We'll talk about a backdoor cover for the ages. Shout out Okie State for winning me some money, and pretty fun little game too against Arkansas.
I don't know what it is. There's nothing like hitting a bet with your boy.
No, it's the best.
It's so electric.
It's the best. So we were on so much action. Like I don't think either of us really ended up net positive. Actually, I think I did, but it doesn't matter. You hit one bet with the boy. It's like making one good golf shot. It makes you want to keep coming back. It doesn't even matter what the rest of that scorecard says. You had that one shot that you can tell everybody about. That's going to keep you coming back.
Yeah, and here's a little advice for you, just because I've been a father a little bit longer than you have been, and for our listeners that have recently welcomed children into the world. First, congrats on the sex. I'm a 2-time confirmed, so one time for Tyler. From a gambling perspective, here's the cover. Hey, if I was single, I'd be at the bar from 10 a.m., 9 a.m. here in the West Coast, 10 a.m. Mountain, till 10 p.m., 11 p.m.
I lost you, 7. You're on good heater. I lost you for the last 10 seconds, maybe longer. What kind of internet you got over there?
So here in Arizona, just the Cowboy State being kind of what it is, we kind of rely on a couple different avenues to get there. So we got to connect one satellite, and then that one satellite, and then another satellite. So it gets a little choppy, especially when the clouds roll in.
Please finish your rant on advice for the parents and the dads. You go to the bar.
Yeah, if you were single, no kids, you'd be at the bar watching ball on Saturday, possibly and Sunday, drinking, eating wings, mott sticks, no Thai food, obviously. That's just a crazy football.
Nope. Don't knock it till you try it. Like I said earlier this last time, you cannot knock the Thai food if you're not going to try it. Get some fiber internet over there. Now this podcast is just me. Figure it out.
How do you think any of the Wi-Fi issues are related to me? Like what?
It's your home.
In what world do you think that I actually have power behind the Wi-Fi? So apologies for the technical issues. But you're going to spend way more money at the bar if you had no kids than you would gambling on sports, sitting with your kids. So if the wife asks you, hey,
cut it back. Stop betting so much. Why couldn't we pay the mortgage last month?
Did you really need to bet on Hawaii at the 11 p.m. kickoff? Yeah.
Yeah.
No duh. I lost less money today than I would have if I was at the bar crushing Coors Lights, wings, mott sticks with the boys. And the vibes are equally as high, especially when you're sending pics across different group chats and we're riding together. I mean, so shout out the new parents out there, new dads. Don't let the wife get in front of a good gambling day, because you would be spending more money at the bar than you are sitting on the couch betting on Texas Tech versus versus Texas State on a Saturday at 2. So it's a great place to be. It's a great place to be.
The last week, as we finish up the weekend recap, I had to snip this, and I need to show it up for everybody here. What an amazing weekend and first couple weeks for the Pac-12. Reddit CFB said this group of team is 21-2 and 3-0 against the SEC. What an incredible start for the Pac-12. The caption of this tweet, or maybe an Instagram post, I can't remember, but it said, "Imagine if they created a conference out of these 12 teams. It'd be pretty good." That was a pretty funny little line there. But man, our Pac-12 was still hot, man. What a conference, huh?
Yeah, it's it's something that I think they should really consider from a West Coast perspective, just having a West Coast power conference.
Sounds like a really good idea.
Yeah. I know football's new to us here on the West Coast. So, maybe we haven't deserved it. The era of USC in the 2000s and going back even farther doesn't matter. Washington, Oregon's run, like none of that matters. Now is the time to consider creating a conference of West Coast powers. And you could
name If the last 2 weeks are any indication, I think it'd be a pretty good little conference. 21-2, one really bad loss for the conference with the CU getting killed against Nebraska. But we could also vote CU out and bring BYU in. That's also an option that could be considered. We're not bringing Cole on. He's just going to suffer in silence over there as I make fun of the Buffs for getting absolutely trounced against Nebraska.
Yeah. Talk about a team that, and I said that surprise of the year would be Deion winning Big 12 Coach of the Year. Immediately wrong.
We'll cut that.
Acknowledge that.
We'll cut that out.
I thought he addressed the line. I thought he addressed the play calling. That play calling is equally as bad as what Dino Babers is doing here in Tucson too. Like it is horrible. They can't, they were so undersized against Nebraska. And shout out Nebraska. Nebraska, we're talking 99 Nebraska. Hopefully not, because their fans are insufferable and we just don't need that. We already are dealing with, the Georgia and Alabamas of the world. But, Colorado is not good. And did you mind Shadir walking off the sideline early with his posse?
It doesn't bother me. Yeah, I'm so used to their antics, it doesn't really bother me. I think he had a concussion too, so it's like let him get into the locker room, get out of the bright lights. Anybody that's played ball and had a concussion, it's pretty bad. Yeah. I didn't.
You play with it though, and then you leave 2 minutes before the game ends. Though that's usually the right thing to do, right? Yeah.
Do what you got to do. Protect yourself. He's got a rap career ahead of him, NFL career ahead of him. He's got a lot to protect, so it doesn't bother me.
Yeah, we don't root for injuries here, but Shiloh Sanders is out for the season. Just throwing that out there. If you want to listen to last week's podcast and my thoughts on Shiloh, you can now see that, maybe those late hits and being a very below average football player caught up with him. So, but, as we kind of keep this thing rolling and talking West Coast, we're going to introduce a new segment here called Name That Scott, right? That's the name of the segment, Niner? Or Choose Your Scott. Choose Your Scott. So the Nine and I have chosen 3 different teams that we are going to pair up with an individual with the last name Scott. The genesis of this segment comes from the individual who ruined collegiate football as we knew it, and why we are here trying to defend West Coast fandom and football like our life depends on it, and that is Mr. Larry Scott. Larry Scott is the most irrelevant CEO of any organization in the history of the United States, and I will argue that with anyone. He has never had a worse impact on one organization than he did on the Pac-12. He is the reason why we went from a Power 5 to a Power 4. And that's why he is the headline for the Choose Your Scott segment. We are going to name a team that we believe is crumbling from a program level. They're dead, just like the Pac-12 was dead because of Larry Scott. Probably the most notable Scott in our lives is Michael Scott. Michael Scott, I think, really shaped a lot of our childhood from a humor perspective. I got into sales as a career because of Michael Scott. Because of that was a joke. Oh my God. Oh, you never heard a joke before? Oh, yeah. Like,
it wasn't that good of a joke.
Yeah, it was a rant. I was riffing, and you just kind of cut me off here.
Did I cut you off? Oh, okay. Right. The podcast was ruined. No, okay.
Michael Scott was the fun guy. Was he a good boss? No, but was he entertaining to watch? Absolutely. So we're going to be naming one of our 3 teams per week the Michael Scott Award. That is someone that they're not going to win the national championship, but they're damn fun to watch. And when they're on TV and the Wildcats aren't playing, we'll be tuning in, right? And the last Scott that we're going to be awarding a team weekly is Travis Scott. Travis Scott has 4 number 1 hits on the U.S. Billboard U.S. Top 100 charts. He is the pinnacle of Scotts. And so we're going to be sharing our team that we believe is the best team in the country. It could also be the team that is moving up the charts the fastest.
Just someone hot. Just someone
team. Hot. Yeah. I mean,
like Travis Scott is just a hot name.
Yeah. I mean, he was with one of the Kardashians, right? They thought he was hot. If they thought he was hot, I think Tyler would say they're hot too, because Tyler, similar tastes over there, right? Look at that jacket. Unbelievable. Malibu's most wanted over there. This is crazy.
Dude, I look fly. All right. So who's your Larry Scott of the week? What team is your Larry Scott of the week?
My Larry Scott of the week is the Colorado Buffaloes. I chose Dion to be the Pac-12 Big 12 Coach of the Year at the beginning of the season. I bought in. I love Dion. I wish he was good, but he's just not. You can point to letting his sons go to a Paris fashion show while the rest of the team has to practice. Yeah. That seems like a little bit. I don't know about you, Nine. I wouldn't love to be a part of that program. So when you think about what Larry did to destroy the Pac-12, Dion is destroying the Colorado Buffaloes, and it only took 2 weeks for us to really see that come through, because that was not good.
You know what the fashion show reminds me of? It reminds me when Larry Scott at the Pac-12 basketball conference tournament decided to stay in, and we can be fact checks on this, but I think directionally I'm right. $10,000 a night room at like the MGM with a butler. It was a huge suite. All the while, the conference was in a rapid decline, and he is just over there blowing the conference's money. So that it's very similar. So Larry Scott of the week, that is a great call. Great call.
Colorado Buffaloes, Larry Scott of the week. Congratulations on the prestigious award. Who's your Larry Scott award winner of the week?
I potentially could be losing some clout for this and some followers for this. My Larry Scott of the week is the Arizona Wildcats. And that selection has nothing to do with my fandom, my love for the program, the hope, the money that I will spend to support them, because I do all those things. But talk about a team that is dead. 2-0, longest winning streak in the country. I am tired of hearing about that, because there is nothing I have seen on Saturday so far to show me that this team is not dead. So that is my Larry Scott of the week.
That hurts, but yeah, you're not wrong.
Truth hurts sometimes. I know we're the negative guys, Jay. I know we're the negative guys, but is it being negative? If being truthful is negative, then we're gonna have to deal with the truth.
We were having the same arguments about Sean Miller 5 years before he got fired on Twitter, defending our stance of that Sean Miller is not the guy. And then guess where everyone else ended up 5 years later?
Sean Miller's not the guy.
Yeah. It's pretty.
He's over there coaching a 500 team Xavier, barely making the tournament, and kind of where he belongs.
Yeah. All righty. Who's your Michael Scott of the week? Who's a team that's not going to win the national championship? They're not going to lead their paper company to number one status, but they are just entertaining, and you're gonna tune in every time they're on.
I'm selecting the Iowa State Cyclones. They pulled out a fun win against their rivals, Iowa. They're not the flashiest in the world. That quarterback is a lot of fun to watch. He's really good. They're going to make some noise in the Big 12, probably a little bit more noise than this podcast predicted. So I'm going with the Iowa State Cyclones. Fun little team. Got some weapons. They're tough. Matt Campbell's a good coach, and they went on the road and took care of business against a rival. I mean, that was fun. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I almost selected Iowa as my Larry Scott team of the week because as much as I love Coach Lester, he was my college coach for a year at Elmhurst College. He's the offensive coordinator at Iowa. It's you just can't score points at Iowa. Like
there's a force field around those touchdowns. For some reason, those end zones.
You could put Sean McVay as the head coach there and play caller, and I don't know if it would matter because there is a force field around that entire stadium that they can't seem to escape from. And who I really feel bad for when it comes to the Hawkeyes is, you put a hospital there for all the sick kids to watch, and then they have to go watch that offense. Like, that's a double negative. That's crazy. So shout out Iowa for just continuing to not know how to play offense. I think that game was 14-0 or something at half.
They were in complete control. So it was Iowa. That's not your Michael Scott. Who's your Michael Scott?
My Michael Scott is the USC Trojans. I do not believe that they have what it takes to win the national championship.
Really?
But no, I don't think they do. Don't think they do. I still think that their backers are a little undersized from a defensive perspective. I think that the Lucas kid at DN, they have the size there, but I think that, you put them against the Georgia and Texases of the world, they're not there.
But how do you say that? He went against one of the best left tackles in the country all day on LSU and played very well. How can you say he can't compete against Georgia?
I mean, let's just see how it rolls out. They're going to run through, and that's the problem. Why would you want to go to the Big Ten? You're going to have to play Oregon, Washington. You're going to have to play Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan at some point throughout, a 4-year period. You're gonna run through injuries. You're gonna run through, a gauntlet, and the conversation there is that at the end of the year, they're just not going to be the ones holding up the trophy. And if they do, I'll get a Brent Brennan face tattoo on my ass if USC wins the national championship.
All right, Cole. Let's definitely clip that because I think Jason is drastically underestimating what they got brewing down there at USC. So, okay.
Hey, as a West Coast podcast, I would love to see it. I'm going to tune in every single time they're on TV because they are electric television. They have NFL players all over the field. After watching Texas and Georgia, I don't think that they're in the Travis Scott arena.
Okay. All right. So nice segue to your Travis Scott. Is it Texas or Georgia?
Georgia.
Okay.
Yeah. It's Georgia.
Mine's Texas.
Yeah.
Man,
Why?
Not very identical of us to not have a single match on our Scots and choosing our Scots. But I don't know if you noticed. It's worth pointing out that when I put this banner up there, I misspelled choose. I did chose, nice. Which is very Larry Scott of me. I did fix it, but I would like to just point out that I was staying on brand with Larry Scott by misspelling.
It was purposeful. Yeah, you did.
Yeah. Purpose. Keep our listeners on their toes. So I think I nailed that, honestly.
You did. You crushed it, and then you addressed it nicely. So I think you put a bow on it, really. You covered all the bases. So Texas is your team right. That you think is the best team in the country right now.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is a –
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well,
go ahead.
I have a problem with the way that voters vote because Texas clearly has the best resume in the country. Why
For
are they
sure.
not number one in the country?
I agree with you on that.
Like, it always bothers me how we like Arizona. I'm picking on my boys a lot. I love them. But why are they still ranked?
Yeah. We shouldn't be.
Just
We
because
don't deserve it.
Just because we were ranked at the beginning of the year and we're now 2-0. That's not a ranked team. If anyone wants to watch them late, that's not a ranked team right now.
After watching the Cats play 2 weeks, do you think if we weren't ranked, that would fire them up any more than where they're at? Do you think that would make a difference in terms of like the disrespect?
Maybe, but it wouldn't change the way our offensive coordinator calls plays, and I think that's the biggest problem.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Dino needs to go, man. There's just no chance.
I've seen enough in 2 weeks.
Dude, I saw enough at Syracuse. Like, I don't get what like it doesn't matter if you're applying for freaking McDonald's cashier or offense coordinator. What's your resume? What skills do you have for this job? Go watch.
Right.
Oh, I know he didn't necessarily call plays at Syracuse all the time, but it's the same damn offense. It's the same thing. They're maxing out at 21 points a game. They always play at home. That's what it seems like anyway, at least with Syracuse. They're always in the damn dome. And they would always play close games and lose. I'm not interested in losing. I think that the expectations for football at Arizona should be just as high as they are for basketball. And if you don't have that, then why are you a fan? What we're just here to have fun? Fuck that. That's not what it's about. It's about winning games, dude. It's about winning championships. Why not? We have the opportunity. You have the roster. Go get some fire under that belly and hit somebody, dude.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you. All right. So moving on to next week, though. Do you have any free money plays of the week? Because they're handing out free money. They're handing out free money on these gambling apps.
Yep, they are. And it's, our compliance department did ask us to caveat that these are just our opinions and that it's not free. You do actually have to put your money down. But they are handing out free money, hypothetically,
it's free,
as long as you win.
Wink.
And we think these are going to win. But if they don't, it's Cole's fault and not ours. Cole's our producer. Shout out Cousin Love. Shout out to our Southern listeners who also show Cousin Love, just in a little different way.
And the free money plays of the week is brought to you by Bros Clothes. Go get you a good shirt. Bros Clothes, great brand.
Yeah, baby.
It's amazing shirts, great quality, cool slogans. Go check out Bros Clothes.
Just bros being dads, bros being twins, bros being dudes. You need whatever you need.
Whatever
Bros
you need,
Clothes guys got you. Yeah,
Bros got you.
Those bros are our bros, and I can't even say it, really any better than that. The bros and Bros Clothes are our bros.
Bros got to stick together. We're bros, literal and figurative. I would hope. It depends on the day. But yeah, brought to you by Bros Clothes. So what are your free money plays of the week?
The first one is completely just diving into the fact that I have not watched, and it's not by choice, just by time. I'm a busy guy. I got kids obligations. I got naps to do. I have not watched Oregon State play, but I'm taking them plus 16 at home against the Oregon Ducks. Oregon has not shown me through 2 games that they have the ability at this point in time. The roster's there. The roster has the ability, but from a team component, it's a lot more than, just the players in the roster. There's a connectivity issue there. They struggled with Idaho. Boise State at home gave them a run for their money in a rivalry game against what looks to be, just based on some of the clips I've seen from Oregon State, a tough team. And that game is in Corvallis. That game is going to be an absolute rock fight, in my opinion. And 16 points at home, I'll ride with that all day.
I like that bet. I am I'm staying out west, true to our brand, West Coast bias here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with a school up north, -1.5 against Texas State. I don't like betting on the school up north, but I do like winning money. They are only a 1.5 point favorite against a Texas State team that is pretty good, but I think that school up north has actually shown to be a pretty formidable team. Beat a Mississippi State team last weekend. The only concern I have with this bet is it is a short week. It's a Thursday night game. Thursday night game on the road. So we'll see tomorrow night, but that's where I'm going to be putting my first couple units is on that school I'm north to cover 1.5 against Texas State.
Yeah, I like that. Shout out Jordan McLeod, former Arizona Wildcat, starting for the Texas State Cougars, Bobcats,
right?
Bobcats.
The Bobcat.
San Marcos, Texas. I know the city.
Shout out.
Texas State. Bobcats.
Thank you, Cole.
Yep.
Thank you, Cole.
That's why Cole's the best in the biz.
That's why he's the highest paid producer in the country.
Yep.
Most people don't know about that.
Yep. It's all in future earnings and IOUs like Jim Carrey in Dumb and Dumber. But that is neither here nor there. That is something we own as business owners and we will address. But he is the highest paid technically in future potential earnings.
Definitely the highest paid at our company.
For sure. Yep. I'm net negative. I think you are probably too. So we're trending. So go to brosclothes.com, purchase a shirt today. My second pick, I have 3 free money plays of the week, not actually free. Compliance is Notre Dame -10. I'm going to the Midwest a little bit. They're playing at Purdue. That roster's there. That team's there. I think that, Marcus Freeman said it. These guys bought in a little bit too much of the hype, and they got punched in the mouth by a really experienced and good team in NIU, and they weren't ready. I think they are going to be very, very ready. A classic bounce-back game where they go take care of business against Purdue. Book it. -10, Notre Dame. They win by 2 touchdowns.
Money.
Yep.
It's not actually free. My second play of this week is going to be the second Friday night game. So 2 Friday night games this week, both in the state of Kansas. Fun fact. We got our Wildcats at Kansas State, and then we got UNLV at Kansas. I am going to go with UNLV +7. Brendan Marion is an offensive wizard. That UNLV team is pretty good. I also wasn't impressed with Kansas last week. Lost to a Illinois team on the road. But I think Kansas will come out, having something to prove. But I think UNLV is a really good team. So give me UNLV +7.
Yep. When you think about the new landscape of college football and the 12-team playoff, we're a non-Power 5 team, a group of 4 team or group of 5, whatever it's called. UNLV is sitting in a really good position because when you look at the Mountain West as a whole, Boise State is looking good. And that is going to be something that if they run the table in the Mountain West, people are going to look at a touchdown loss at Oregon on week 2 as a really positive thing. But UNLV has an opportunity to make a statement here and really, I think early on in the year, get a little bit of separation between the Boise State conversation because, San Diego State brought in this high-powered offensive guy from Kent State and he scored 0 points this weekend. So shout out the Aztecs for
You mean from Colorado?
Or from Colorado. He was at Kent State before that, right? As the
head coach? He was the head coach. Yeah.
So, UNLV, I love that pick. Absolutely love it. UNLV's great.
Hammer.
You mentioned Marion, their offense, but their defense is good too. I don't know what that middle backer's name is. I think we had targeted him in the portal a little bit, number 7. Football player. Yeah. And they're a good squad, man. They're a good squad. So I love it. I'm staying out west for my third pick. This is not a pick on anything to do with this team, in my opinion, being like any good. It's more so the fact that I think that this team is the other team that they're playing is horrible. I'm taking BYU -10.5 against Wyoming. I think Wyoming is absolute garbage. No disrespect to Josh Allen, a good friend of ours, but BYU, solid program. I golfed with their offensive coordinator earlier in the summer. Great guy. Feel like we have a connection. Don't know how to pronounce his name, but really good guy. And, I think BYU just absolutely handles Wyoming because Wyoming straight up is just not good.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yep.
My final free money play of the week. It's not free. Is
put your own money. You could lose it. But we don't think you will. Lock.
Yeah, you won't, but you could.
Just do it.
My third one is a little bit of a homer pick. Bias is not free. My last one is totally biased. This is with my heart because I want to see it happen. Is going to be Washington State -4.5 against Washington.
I'll ride with you that. I don't even believe that, but I'll ride with you.
Come on, it's just all heart. We're gonna manifesting this. We're manifesting it. It's free. Washington State on the road, but technically it's at Lumen, where the Seahawks play. So it's not at Washington's home stadium. The guy whose name shall not be spoken, the snake oil salesman, the snake, yes. It's his first game at Washington that actually matters. Washington State handled Texas Tech last week, and I think that there is a lot of bad blood in the Apple Cup. I'm a little bummed out that it's happening in September, but the slate this weekend is so bad. I am glad that we have the Oregon State and the Washington State game. So staying out west with my pick, I'm riding with Washington State -4.5 purely out of manifesting what I want to see happen.
Would you call that hate?
Yes, I would.
Yeah. Hey, Jed.
Anytime,
any place. You little college tennis player, little fuck. Anytime, any place, you little rat. Hey, let's go on Jim Rome together. Let's tell him something very, very, close to our heart and tell him how you're going to stay. Wouldn't that be good? Oh, then you could leave a week later.
The deal's done. Just got to sign some things.
Just got to sign some paper. Yeah, I'm going to get $1 million to go live in a city that has a 43% higher cost of living than Tucson, Arizona. And, also has a huge gap to fill, replacing a team that went to the college football playoff and lost 75% of your roster.
Couldn't give us one more year. You could have gone to Florida and no one would have cared. We would have all understood, and you would have had a statue right next to Lute in front of McHale. You would have, because what you did out of 2020 to get to the program from 1 win or 2 wins, whatever it was, 1 win to 5 to a 10, and this opportunity to go to a playoff in a wide open Big 12. You ain't going to the playoff in the Big 10. It doesn't matter if you have last year's roster. Good luck. It's just not going to happen. Fuck you. Okay, what's your last lock?
I already shared them all. I could come up with another one. Sorry, Jed. That snake.
No, now I'm mad and I'm not going to be able to sleep.
Yeah, I've been there.
That is hate. There's hate in my heart.
Hey, Jed. Come find me. I'm here.
You don't want this smoke. Come on, Jed.
You don't want it. I dare you.
You don't want it. You can even bring your racket. Bring your racket.
Bring your racket. Bring a couple of those yellow little balls with you, too, and you can hit them at me. Oh, that would hurt so bad. Guess what you've never done? You've never filled an A gap, Jed.
You've never put on a jock strap.
You don't know even how to put on a jock. You would put it backwards.
You're a fraud.
You are
really
scum. You're the best caller. You're the best
play caller. I love you. Please come back.
I'm glad we got that.
I hate you. Okay. Are we done?
No, I hate him too. No, I could keep going.
Come back.
Don't actually come back. But you could have stayed one more year. That's all anyone wanted. One more year. All right.
Can we end our show on a happy note?
Let's do it. What are you thinking? Should we look at
who are our brothers of the week? Do we got any brothers to shout out in the college football world?
Yeah, we're gonna shout out one set of brothers in particular, because this is one of the benefits. That's the thing in life, right? There's positives, there's negatives to any situation. When you think about the transfer portal, NIL, has that caused some divide, some parity? Sure. But what it has also given us is the opportunity for the Daskin brothers at Western New England University to play together. They are a 5-year age difference. 5-year age difference. They've had nothing in common pretty much their whole life.
That's right.
When homeboy older brother is 10, the other guy's 5. The other guy's kind of trying to catch lizards and run around. The other one's trying to learn kind of, where he stands in society. When he's 15 versus 10, one's trying to, get the girl that, is in class staring at him to like him and maybe, reach a couple bases. And the 10-year-old's trying to, hit his first home run in Little League. These are very different components of life. But the fact that we are at this point where kids get unlimited playing time almost and unlimited years. I mean, we got 28-year-olds in college football now that aren't Mormon. That is crazy. That is awesome for college football.
Never thought we'd see the day.
Because of that, these brothers, these strapping young gentlemen at Western New England University, we're all for the brothers here. You guys know that. We're proud that they're able to play together. That's special. Nine was able to be my partner in crime for many years. We had that benefit as identical twins being the same age. We have addressed we did have to separate ourselves in basketball. That was just for other reasons, and we just fight too much. But from a football standpoint, these kids get to play together as brothers, 5-year age difference. Shout out NIL, shout out transfer portal, shout out COVID extra year. We love to see this. Brothers getting played together. We'll talk about this forever.
Shout out to Daskin Brothers. I don't think it's an NIL or transfer portal thing. I think it's
for sure.
really
Not
a COVID thing. But happy for these guys that they get to strap it on together. It sounds like they never got to play on the same field ever in their life, so they get to do it now. Pretty cool. Go make some plays up there in Western New England, and we'll be cheering you on.
Yeah, and hey, let's make it an NIL thing. If you guys want to come on the podcast, I'll send you $20 each. NIL, name, image, likeness. $20 each for the boys.
Find them on social.
Find them. Come on. This is a bros podcast. This is certified ball knowers only. And guys that are willing to play at Western New England University are ball knowers. That is for the love of the game. As a former Division III 2-time snap player myself, I am a full believer that ball is life and that true ball players play at those different levels. And we'd love to have you on the pod. $20 each. NIL.
I'll match it. Ooh, 40 each. 40 each.
Some may say that is a 100% increase from where we're at. If we were at an auction, we're moving up nicely, boys. So come on. $40. That'll get you, in Biden's America, a great In-N-Out burger and maybe some, and you guys don't even know that in New England, maybe, I don't know, Wawa's. I don't know. You can go buy some Cheez-Its at Wawa's. I don't know what you can do with $40, but we're happy to pay it. So come on, boys. We'd love to have you. We are 7, and for 9, we're signing off. We appreciate you all joining episode 2 of this. Bear down.
Bear down, everyone. Have a great one. Peace.